Hello everyone, welcome to the 4th episode of the You Don't Know Smith podcast. As always, I'm joined here with Mrs. Smith. We have a really cool episode for you today, talking about a lot of, heavier topics than we normally talk about, but all things I think are really good and kind of the central premise of this whole podcast. I think with the last couple of weeks, we've been dealing with holidays and things like that, and there's not a holiday every week, so...
Well, plus the first few episodes, I should say, are fans getting to know us.
Yeah, but I mean, I think...
4 fans.
Yeah, all 4 of them. No, we have quite a few views now. We
do.
A small following, I guess. But,
Very small.
Very, very small. But even then, this is more of getting to know us, really, than what we have going on today's podcast. Some of the live videos might have been more... people trying to see what we're like and what those things are. But
yeah.
Anyway, so...
Hilarious. We're hilarious.
Yeah, that's what everybody says, I guess.
Well, we're cute.
So, we have a couple good topics today. This first topic was brought up the other day. Me and my daughter, my youngest, I was putting her to bed and she was crying or whatever. And like she always does.
I was going to say, disclaimer, our youngest has any feelings she feels. It's really big. So...
Oh yeah, on all ends.
All ends, everything.
Yeah.
So
it's not like Moses where like any feelings that's not happy is sad. It's any feeling she has, it's just a big deal. Mm-hmm. Everything's a big deal.
So she was really upset about
going to bed.
That makes sense.
Right. So I don't know how it came up, but we were talking about how Daddy loves Mommy the most. And that really upset her for whatever reason. And not that I didn't love her, because I love her, but she wanted to be loved the most and more than anybody else. And so I thought it was a good thing to kind of talk about is where our priorities in marriage are in general, because a lot of people are kind of surprised when we tell them that our priority is our marriage first.
I think within like a Christian circle that makes sense. When I'm trolling on Cafe Mom and they ask a question like that, I see a lot of women who will write husband first.
Really?
Yeah. It's still predominantly women will put their kids first, especially if they're single, obviously. But
I think I've gotten flack in Christian circles.
Really?
I've taught Sunday school class about it, and I've gotten flack for it. I think the other day I was talking to somebody at work, and they were mentioning how they were surprised by it, and in the way they're kind of a single parent too, and so it's different. I said if they'd always had that mentality of putting their wives first, then maybe it would be different, you know. I said anyway. So the whole idea is this is a priority. Number 1 is our faith, and that's always number 1 priority. But it's easier when both people are sharing that priority. Number 2 is a spouse, and that's because for me personally, I'm going to be with my spouse forever until I die. And she's going to be with me till I die. Or till she dies. I keep saying I, but you might die too, I guess.
I'm going to outlive you.
Yeah. Probably. Yeah.
We'll discuss why in the next segment.
Oh, no. No, you won't. The other reason is as your kids get older, they're going to leave home. And so if you've poured all your priorities into your kids, then when they leave... and they will leave and potentially marry somebody else, their priority should be to them, that person they marry, and not their parents. So you're stuck having loved your kids more than your wife or your husband, and then when they're all gone, you're trying to figure out the person that you're supposed to be loving more than anybody else again.
Or attempting to salvage the relationship that could probably be in disrepair at that point. Like, if you go 20-something years... kind of putting your spouse on the back burner. I mean, where are you going to be?
Right. What you're going to end up doing is end up pouring into your kids still and your grandkids and putting all that energy into that. And you're forever. You're just your husband or your wife is just going to be in the back. And the last priority, and it's in there and has to be in there, is work. And now I have a few examples, but do you have any examples of where you've seen in our relationship when the priorities kind of got out of whack, where we've had issues?
Not off the top of my head.
I have the one where work was a big priority for me, and I was really nervous about how my work was going to turn out, or how my reputation at work was going to be, and I put that as my number one, not as my number one energy, but I put that need over your needs and wants and over what you wanted for us. And that caused a lot of problems. And all the times I think that we've had problems in our relationship, it's always been when our priorities are out of whack. I feel like when we were in high school, the priority was not on God, but on each other first. Mm-hmm. And that made all kinds of issues for us, too.
Well, then it's hard, too, when you have young children at home and their needs have to be met,
right?
Obviously. So, sometimes I don't know how to word it, but your children's, they need to be rocked to sleep. They need to be comforted. And so you can't exactly, the one that's doing the nurturing, is going to focus on the children, and the one who's the spouse who's not, doing whatever on the side should not be offended that the wife or I'm going to say wife because I'm using me.
Right.
Are off, taking care of the children. Like, and I don't think it's a difference. I don't think the priorities were out of whack. It's just a different time.
Yeah, I don't feel like that's ever been a problem for us.
No.
I feel like I obviously taking care of our kids or we could take care of ourselves is not the same thing.
I'm just saying that sometimes
my expectation isn't that you completely take care of me and leave the kids kind of taking care of themselves, because I can take care of myself for the most part, and so can you.
Can you? You don't even like to cook.
Well, that doesn't mean I can't take care of myself. I mean, that when you're taking care of a kid, I'm not, it would be very childish of me for me to get jealous. For me to be like, oh, you take care of the kids, you take care of me.
That is a problem.
Not in our marriage.
Not in our marriage. I'm saying I've seen it.
Yeah.
And I've known people who have had that problem.
Right.
So.
Yeah, I think in those two instances where we put our relationship before God, and then when I put work, at least my reputation and what I thought and my priorities at work, above your feelings and your needs, I think those were the two times that we had the most problems.
Mm-hmm. I would agree.
I feel like if these priorities are in order and in a good spot, God, wife, or, for us, God, wife, children, work, then we're all pretty good. I said, even if you're not religious and you remove God out of that picture, I still feel like wife, children, and work is a reasonable form of priorities. Mm-hmm. Just because in the same sense, no matter whether you're religious or not, even though the Bible does have a lot of defense for this priority set, that your kids are still going to move out. And you're still going to be left with your spouse, potentially, if your plan was to marry them forever. And I assume if you got married, whether religious or not, it was to be forever. And so, when your children are gone, and they've married somebody else, and hopefully they love their spouse more than they love their parents, it's a little weird if they didn't, then you're going to be stuck. Like we already kind of mentioned, you're going to be stuck with your spouse with a lot of bitterness and being, now...
Or not stuck with your spouse at all, because...
Yeah.
You're not pouring into the relationship, and... So, that's a good topic.
It was a good topic. I like that one.
Deep one.
Yeah. Well, this one's kind of... These next two are... Well, the next one that you have is a little bit more deep than mine. For social networking, I was tagged in a post this week. First, I read it. Matt Walsh wrote it. And Matt Walsh sometimes, on top of his serious stuff, sometimes occasionally have some... sort of satiric stuff and even some stuff that's really overly sarcastic. He's not serious, but a lot of people take him seriously. And this one was about turkey bacon. And I know people are like, well, why is he wasting time talking about turkey bacon? But this is our social networking thing, and this is what came up, all right? So besides turkey bacon being gross, I actually have some legitimate health reasons why it's gross. Okay. Why it's not good for you.
Go on.
So turkey bacon, first of all, there's no part of the turkey that's being made. Much like hot dogs, it's a mixture of all the processed meat afterwards, and it's being processed into some sort of slurry, and then being put into bacon-like shapes.
But I don't think it's... I think it's still kind of tasty.
Yeah, what's it taste like?
Turkey.
It tastes like bacon.
Ish, yeah.
But turkeys don't taste like bacon, so how do they make it taste like bacon?
They must
add salt and sodium and all this other stuff. So although it's a lot less in calories, but so is Coke Zero, and you can't say that Coke Zero is good for you.
Right.
But it's thought of some healthy alternative to bacon. Now, bacon is supposedly bad for you, but the reason why it's bad for you is because it's got all that salt and stuff in it. But if you're adding salt to turkey bacon to make it taste like bacon...
I still think there's less sodium, though.
I did the research before I did this podcast.
Oh, gosh.
Yep, got him. No, they add 3 different types of sodium to turkey bacon versus the regular amount of sodium that's naturally in pork, in the bacon that, well, whatever, pigs. Plus, you're not supposed to cook it. You know, you're not supposed to cook, like, turkey bacon doesn't cook like regular bacon. It burns. Because it doesn't have the fats and stuff to make it, to cause all the shrinkage and all the other stuff that happens with bacon. It just...
So how am I cooking turkey bacon when I cook it?
You're burning it.
Ah.
Much like when you cook bologna. You ever had fried bologna?
No, that's gross.
It's good. It's a staple in my home growing up. Fried bologna. But yeah, it doesn't. It
Is it in a sandwich? You just kind of eat it with a knife and fork?
You could do both.
Oh my gosh!
What? You could do both. You could do that, or
what
you
a
could,
delicacy!
Whatever. Watch all the people respond to your jerkiness. Say fried bologna is awesome.
Ugh.
It's a hot dog.
I bet you eat it with ketchup.
It's a flattened hot dog. That's all bologna is a flattened hot dog. Yeah, it's snooty. Look at you with your rich people food. We couldn't afford hot dogs growing up, so it was bologna.
Did you dip it in ketchup too?
I don't remember that. I don't know. Maybe. I don't remember every time I eat ketchup like you do because you hate ketchup so much.
I have an undying passion.
At least ketchup's bad. Ketchup's bad for you too, though.
Yeah, lots of sugar.
Who cares? I don't care. But
gross.
1 packet of ketchup.
Oh, gross.
Yeah, whatever.
Lucky you. I started actually buying it again.
I don't
You're
care.
welcome.
You can buy it or not. You don't really put it on anything.
No, I don't.
I have to put it on myself. And I have to wash my plate afterwards because you can't handle bacon
ketchup. Dried up ketchup. Blah, that makes me.
They're called ketchup chips. Eat them like everybody else does.
That's disgusting. Oh, that makes my throat tickle.
You can't puke on the podcast. Yeah, so I understand like anybody else taking, like I drink Coke Zero. I understand replacing, if you're going to drink soda, you might as well drink the diet soda or whatever soda. If you're going to, you should drink it anyways, but if you're going to drink it, it's all bad for you. You might as well have the one that has less calories.
Yeah.
But turkey bacon, besides having less calories...
Well, I know in diet sodas they add the artificial sweeteners and yada yada yada. That's terrible for you, but I'm sorry my bracelets keep jingling. It's
Christmas season.
Christmassy.
To say, yeah. That's so annoying. That's going to be annoying.
But either way, regular Coke, Diet Coke, both are gross. Both have tons of junk in there that you shouldn't be having. Like,
I would say anything that's made in a factory to taste a certain way can't be good for you. And so bacon, regular bacon, has to be better for you than turkey bacon. But I guarantee you, if someone was really going back, you're going to find people on both sides of this argument that are going to be crazy. But I'll tell you this. Bacon shouldn't burn unless you cook it for too long. And turkey bacon's gross.
Well, bacon comes from the animal. Not very much is done to it.
Right. You just cut it and slice it. It's, it's part of the pig. It's just the way it is. It's marbled naturally like that. Unlike turkey bacon, which they have to make it look marbled.
Like a mold. Marbled mold.
Yeah, it's gross. It's just, whatever. The fact that people still prefer it, what bothers me is people actually prefer. I don't prefer diet soda.
Well, I grew up eating turkey bacon, so I preferred it. Then I had the real stuff, and I was like, okay, this is legit.
But it's just like steak, though. You never had medium rare steak. And then you normally had like overdone steak, right?
And fried.
What's it called?
Well done.
Well done. Overdone. Anything over rare is overdone. But that's normally how you had the steak, well done. And you weren't a big fan of it, steak in general, because that was just the way you knew it. But as soon as you start having steak the way it should be made, rare, medium rare,
yes.
That's the way steak should be.
Medium rare is how I like my steak.
As everybody should. Okay, so that was my turkey bacon health rant. All right, and I won't have a lot of them, because for the most part, as far as health is concerned, food-wise, I know a lot about it, but I don't really practice it. I probably should. Start.
Yeah, like dinner tonight, I saw the lack of vegetables on your plate.
Vegetables are so gross. I wish they could taste better. Why did like natural growing food have to taste like dirt?
They're good.
They're gross.
Oh my goodness.
The only way they're good is if you have like a pound of ranch dressing next to them. Or something to dull the flavor of, I don't know, yard work. My roasted
cauliflower had butter drizzled on top.
There's a good vegan food place in Hilton Head that had like a fried cauliflower thing that tasted good. It was like popcorn cauliflower or whatever.
Yeah, like Bang Bang cauliflower or something.
I don't care. It was good. But, I mean, again, the things you have to do, the ninja kind of skills you need to have in order to make,
vegetables delicious.
Farm food taste good.
I think God made them delicious. You're just a brat.
I guess. They're gross. So the next topic is actually yours, so I'm going to let you introduce it.
Okay.
Go on.
So the next topic is an article I had seen posted on Facebook by several of my friends and a couple of pages that I follow, and it was titled, "Is Public Education Even an Option?" And it was an article encouraging homeschool, which I have no problems with homeschooling. But our kids go to a public school, and we are outside of the norm, it seems anyways. Or maybe I just encounter a lot of very outspoken homeschool families within the church. But we send our kids to a public school, and there are reasons behind it. And the way that this article and the people who are sharing it and kind of getting on their soapboxes saying, well, this is why I homeschool, or this is why we do this, or basically saying, my option is right, your option is wrong. And so I wanted to discuss why we send our kids to a public school. And again, I want to reiterate, because I know a couple of my friends who do listen, who do homeschool. I have nothing against homeschooling. And one of the reasons why we don't homeschool is I really do not have a calling or a desire to do it. I can't imagine that being a great experience for all of us if I don't feel the calling myself to do it. However, different situation, maybe if we live in a different area or something, maybe it'll change someday, but anyways, I'll let you.
Homeschool or private school are basically the alternative options to education besides public school. I've surprisingly enough had experience in all three, even though I can't really count homeschool because I didn't put a lot of effort into it and it was just a really hectic time. But I would say this, every option for education for your children is on the parents, and it's the parents' responsibility to decide what's best for their family. And it's not the parents' responsibility to decide what's best for other people's families. And that's my problem with this article, or many articles like it that I've seen. It's this idea that, we have it right here, and anybody else who's doing this is hurting their kids or harming their kids or not doing the right thing for their kids. And that's the same way. I'm not going to say for a second that anybody that's homeschooling their kids is doing the wrong thing. I'm just going to explain why I put my kids in public school. And at the same time, I'm not going to say for a second that anybody that puts their kids in public school is doing the wrong thing, or private school, or any of those reasons, because they all have their individual reasons why they sent them in. Mm-hmm. So I think we both share the same reason for public school education. Do you want me to go? Okay, so for us personally, first, kind of like Bethany said, neither of us really feel called to teach our kids at home as far as schooling is concerned. I want to be a teacher, and I would love to homeschool the kids, but I also, have the most job work experience, so I'm the best fit to go out and work right now. So that makes one reason why we don't homeschool. The second reason is I feel like my kids are solid in their faith. And it would be a crime for me to, after all their professions of faith and their baptisms and their opportunities at church to do all these things, to assume that they're weak in their faith in some way, shape, or form. And so I can't send them to public school because they're going to fall back. Instead, I know that they're strong in their faith, and I know that they're able to share their faith with other students. And I've had regular reports from both their teachers and themselves about them doing this. It may be because we're down the South where churches are so prevalent and
at the school board meeting they openly prayed and they ended in Jesus' name.
Sure.
The school board meeting, I was so surprised. So.
Right. And so it's such a regular occurrence that having Christian students in the school and having my kids in a public school that are Christians, they're able to profess their faith. And I believe if we are serious about the Great Commission applying to all believers, then our kids have this opportunity to preach and teach the gospel and be witnesses of Jesus Christ to the world. I find it a dangerous thing for all Christians to say, we're not going to put our kids in public school and remove Christ out of the world. All right. Now, you could debate about whether the education system is good or bad or whatever. But see, the reason why I don't care is because my kids are getting taught from home. We take the time to teach our kids. I mean, most of them were doing most of the things that they're supposed to do in pre-K and kindergarten before they even went. We spend time teaching our kids to read. We spend our kids reading with our kids and taking an active effort in their education. And that is one of the major reasons I feel that our kids are so advanced in all their classes. And so, I would just say this. Before you post these things on Facebook, and even if you were to share this because you thought, man, they have some really good points about education, just realize that you have to do what's right for your family and your family dynamic. Maybe your kids haven't professed faith yet. Maybe they're not baptized. Maybe they're not saved. Maybe they're not really strong Christian kids
or
yet.
There could be other reasons.
Or many other reasons beyond
disabilities, or not even, don't you just unfortunately live in kind of a
maybe
scary school system?
Feel called.
Like if we were, or if you feel called and you have that desire to be home with your kids and teach them and stuff. Because I tell you, if we lived one county over, it'd be a different story for sure. I wouldn't send them to the county next to us. I wouldn't send them to their public schools. We'd figure something else out.
Another thing, too, there's no guarantee if you homeschool, private school, public school, that at the end of that ministry, there's any more guarantee that your student or child is going to remain in their Christian walk or faith. I've heard the things like, oh, you're just going to throw them to the sharks, or oh, you're just going to throw them to the wolves or whatever. Well, eventually all of them are going to the sharks and the wolves. The idea is that you're equipping them with the shark cage and the harpoon gun or whatever weapon you need to kill wolves.
Right.
You're doing what you need to equip them before they go out into the world.
And the other argument that I had heard, because what I had done is after I saw one of this article, I scrolled down and looked at the comments because that's one of my favorite things to do.
Yeah, right.
And the woman was like, she had said that, like, why are you putting your kids in, sending them in kindergarten, just throwing them to the wolves? And I was like, well, my kindergartners are experiencing kindergarten-sized problems.
Right.
And they're going to come home and they're going to be guided through these kindergarten problems. And then, first grade, they're going to have first grade size problems. So I'm thinking we're just building them up slowly, and they're slowly getting experience and stuff. Not saying that you can't have that in other ways, but I just saw it as
I have personal close friends. If your goal is to have your kids remain in Christianity and remain solid in their faith, I have close personal friends that won't deny it, and I have no problem saying anything, that grew up in homeschool and grew up in private school their whole lives, and they're no closer to being a stronger Christian than all 6 of my siblings, where 3 of us are deacons and all of us are... Yeah, we all went to public school. All 6 of us went to public school. My sister went to private school for a little bit longer than any of us. I went to private school for 2 or 3 years. But we all, for the most part, were in the public school systems up until middle school. Yeah. All of us. And 5 out of 6 graduated from public school. And 3 of us are deacons. 2 of us are pursuing ministry. All of us profess Christianity. So, the idea is what's going on in the house. That's important. What is going on at home? Are you reading your Bible with your kids? Are you studying with your kids? You're expecting the school systems to teach your kids, or are you doing it at home? Because you can't trust the public school to teach your kids the Bible, and I wouldn't do that. And you can't trust a private school to do that either. The only people you can trust to teach your kids the Bible is the home. And the homeschool is good for that. But the homeschool, what it doesn't do is show them the application of their faith in the world on a regular basis. You have to find ways to do that, and there are ways to do that in
It's just homeschool. A lot more difficult.
You just have to do it. And I think that what those people do is they don't do it because they feel like they got it, and they don't realize that that's a thing that they have to do too. They have to bring them out and show them and have them work in ministries and things like that and bring them out into the world so they can show their faith. Because that's exactly what I think it means by hiding the light in a bushel. is by keeping it in this kind of Christian bomb shelter. Anyways, we spent a lot of time on that topic. I have the would you rather topic this week. I chose because of such a heavy podcast. I mean, besides turkey bacon, a lot of what we talked about is kind of...
I think that's kind of the point, though.
It is the point, yeah.
And our live videos are us.
Yeah, the live videos
being dumb.
And if you want dumb, kind of funny, comment stuff for us to answer on our live videos. I mean, that's a lot more of us being messing around and stuff. The would you rather is though it's pretty light. Okay. So the would you rather, they got the clap on the thing. Good. The would you rather is 80s related.
Oh yes.
So would you rather wear 80s clothing for the rest of your life, or would you rather have 80s hair for the rest of your life? You can wear whatever you want, but you have to have 80s hair, or you can have your hair the whatever you want, but you have to wear 80s clothing. It has to be stereotypical 80s clothing. It can't just be like
Beverly Goldberg. Could I do some sweet sweaters and jumpsuits? Or 80s hair. What are we talking 80s hair? Like crimped and...
The poofy, kind of crazy hair. I mean, if you Google 80s hair, what kind of images are you going to have? Right?
I would go with clothing. I could rock that, and we all know I can.
The shoulder pads and the
would, and I'd do fabulous, and I'd have my little onesies with my fancy belt. I'd be all right.
I'm with you. This is the first would you rather that we'd agreed on.
Oh, really?
Here's why. First of all, 80s clothing for men, not that bad.
Yeah.
It's mostly like Ghostbusters shirts and, logo shirts, which is pretty much what I wear anyways. The problem is pants. Pants are a little snug, right? But pants are a little snug in modern culture right now anyways for dudes. Yeah. So, I mean, but the thing is, when you're watching like a show that's set in the 80s, like the Goldbergs, the guys, they're dressed pretty similar. Because guys' clothes doesn't really change. Polo shirts, button-up shirts, pants. The styles
as far as like casual
clothing. There is
the
occasional day glow that you have to worry about. But I could deal with day glow, and I could. It wouldn't be that big of a deal. Parachute pants, stuff like that, I can handle. What I can't handle is a mullet or Jerry curls. I would not look good in either of those things.
You should do your beard in Jerry curl.
Or even just long ponytail kind of thing. I can't do it. So, I'd rather just keep my head the way it is and just go with 80s style clothing. Maybe the next live video we'll dress 80s style.
No.
You don't want to?
I don't know if I own anything that's 80s style.
No, you can make something. It's easy.
I'll go to Goodwill.
Yeah, we could do that. All right, so that's our podcast this week. We really thank you all for listening and hope you enjoyed it. Feel free to comment, like, share, subscribe. Follow us on Facebook if you want the live videos. We've also been posting those live videos on YouTube. This coming week, we have our live video, and then next week, we're really not sure about what topics we're going to be talking about next yet. We're just going to have to figure it out as the week goes along. Yeah, so we appreciate your following. We're at 4. I'll be excited when we're at 10.
What?
Podcasts.
Oh, yeah.
Right now we're at 4. I feel like 10 is a milestone. I only got 8 with Glenn. We did Glenn's, but 10 will be cool.
We can do it.
Yeah, we'll be fine. But anyway, so thanks for listening, and see you all later. Bye.
Bye. Bye. Bye. Bye. Bye.